Welcome everyone to a session on the power of Alpha 330. That's what we're going to focus on today, and we've been getting a lot of questions. This is a webinar that we've had in the past, but there are more questions on understanding this more, and quick hacks on our app that we could talk about for you to understand this better. So I have Akshaya Bhargava, our chairman and founder here. He wasn't there last week, and Akshay, the group was asking for you, and you're back. So thank you for that. And we have Sarthak Behura and Ravi Raman as well from our teams. I'm going to get started. The chat is open. Please do send in your questions, and we will keep answering them as we go along. Akshay, over to you on this topic and more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shruti. Pleasure to be back. I was on holiday last week, so I missed the webinar. Delighted to be back here with everybody. So, welcome again. I think it's been an interesting time in the markets, certainly in the last few weeks. And before we start, I think it's worth spending a little bit of time just recapping on a few things. And I really want to go back to some very basics here. I know I said it in the last webinar as well, but sometimes basics are what matter. Frankly, I think basics are the only thing that matter. If you get the basics right, you can't go much wrong. So the first thing I want to highlight is that InvestorAi is only information. It is not advice. Okay? It is not intended to be advice. We do not want to give advice. And we will, in the future, never give advice. That is just not what we do. The purpose of InvestorAi is simply to provide you the best information and research that we possibly can. So just bear that in mind. The second thing, it may sound obvious when I say it, but honestly, if I look at some of the chatter on our communities, I felt that I needed to emphasize this point again. That InvestorAi is a tool, and like many other tools, it has its utility. Okay, it's an incredibly powerful tool, but it can never replace your own judgment and experience. It should never replace your own judgment and experience, and you should not expect it to. So, saying that InvestorAi told me to do this, and I did this, and I made money or lost money, that is just wrong. It doesn't actually matter whether you make money or lose money. You should never do it. If you don't understand a particular stock, you don't have a point of view on it, if you haven't understood what the company is all about, then you should not buy regardless of any signal that we give you. Okay? So I cannot emphasize how important this little point is. Thirdly, remember, InvestorAi will always give you the best predictive signals possible. Okay, we test our algos all the time. We have validated them. We have back tested them over many years. They have been live for over 2 years, so we've been running them in different kind of market conditions. We constantly monitor them and we tune them when we think that some tuning is needed. Okay, but they are just signals. They are signals. They are never going to be right all the time. They are very high quality signals. They are based on a degree of analysis that you will rarely find unless there's a team sitting there doing it for you. And that is really our vision, to take that high quality work and make it available to everyone at a very easy to understand and an affordable way. But they are just signals. Okay, we show you a lot of information, and it is important to understand how to interpret it. And in today's session, I'm going to deep dive into Alpha 330, and I'm going to go into every single piece of information that we show you. And I want you to understand how to understand it, how to interpret it. That is very, very important, because if you can just look at it and say, it says 3% return, but if you understand how, what it is trying to tell you, then you will be able to interpret it a lot better. Okay, so these are just some very basic things. Then I want to go on to something that some of you who have been to these webinars before have heard me talk many times. And I will tell you, I cannot talk enough about it. That I've always talked about the theme of, U plus AI. And sorry, what am I doing? I should go back. Yeah, I've talked about the theme of U plus AI. So it's a combination of human and machine that really gives you the superpower. And the other factor is time. Okay. But in all this, your judgment is, you are very, very, very important. Your own judgment, your own experience, your own conviction, or lack of it is extremely important. If you don't have that, then I think a lot of the utility of what we are saying is going to be compromised. This does not replace your judgment. So what you really have when you start using InvestorAi is a combination of human plus machine. And time is very, very important. And I think time is the biggest friend that an investor has. If you are under 30, I really envy you, because you have so much time on your side. You don't have to invest a ton of money. You just invest a little bit of money and let it grow. Now, I'm not advocating a completely passive strategy, but honestly, it doesn't matter what you do. You can take a completely passive strategy. You can put in a mutual fund, one of the top mutual fund houses. You can buy some stocks and hold them. In any way, over time, the effect will compound, and the compounding of returns is as important as the returns themselves. Okay, don't forget that. And compounding only happens with time. Okay, so the example I've given here is simply arithmetic. Just do it yourself and you will see. But the Sensex itself has grown 17% since 1980. And that is a huge, huge number. I don't know if it's going to continue. So in summary, guys, the machine is there to help you. But finally, it is you that matters more than the machine. Okay. So I'm going to just pause here. I want to ask Prabal to put up some questions. These are very familiar questions to many of you. I want to know your age profile. I'm going to ask your investment experience. And I'm going to ask you if you use InvestorAi. So there are 3 questions coming up. You don't have to answer any of them, but please click so it'll give us an idea. Okay, so this is a very good distribution. So as you can see, if you can see the chart in front of you, it's reasonably even, leaning more towards 50 plus, which is very nice from my point of view. Nice to have some company. But equally, we have a number of young people as well. If I look under 30, that is almost 29, 30%. So good. Will you put up the second question, Prabal? Your investment experience, 0 to 1 year, 1 to 3 years, and 3+ years. Again, a very good distribution, mostly experienced investors, but some people who have less than 1 year investment experience. Great. Prabal, can I have the third question on how many of you are current users of InvestorAi? This is important for me, guys, so that I can either explain everything in basics, or I can go a little deeper if you are already users. Okay, so looking like 60-40, yeah, roughly 55-45. Okay, thank you very much. This is really useful. We have a lot of people who are existing users of the app, but equally we have enough people who have not used it before. So I will temper my narrative accordingly. So now let me move to what the subject of today's discussion is the power of Alpha 330. I'm just going to focus on one single app. I'm going to show you the screens. So people who are coming to Alpha 330 for the first time, some people who have not used our app before, if you download the app, and I will show it to you so you'll be able to see the app shortly, you will see an algo called Alpha 330. And as the name might imply, Alpha 330 is a algorithm that aims at finding stocks that have a high probability of delivering at least a 3% return over the next 30 days. Okay, and that's why we call it Alpha 330. It targets 3% in 30 days. It is a high return algo that operates with reasonably high levels of accuracy. And I will talk a little bit about accuracy as well. So what is Alpha 330? It's really a machine learning model based on pattern recognition technology, known as computer vision. This is the technology that a self-driving car uses to recognize obstacles and barriers. So when it sees an object, it sort of quickly calculates that it's 28 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 14 inches high, seems to have 4 legs. It might be a dog or a cat. Okay, so it very quickly kind of does that. So very similarly, Alpha 330 looks for patterns. It knows the kind of patterns that exist when the stock is about to break out. And then it says, then it looks at, okay, these variables are right. This could be a breakout stock. So, that is how it starts. So that's really the process that sits behind Alpha 330. So it analyzes over 900 pieces of data, both technical and fundamental, for every stock in every market every day. Now, I say every stock that we cover. We cover about 4,500 stocks. So we don't cover, obviously, every single stock because we need some level of information on each of them. It then identifies potential breakout patterns that can produce 3% return in 30 days. Okay, so that's sort of what the algo is intended to do. This is just one of many algos in the app. Okay, so as you use the app, you will get more and more familiar with many of our algos. And we will be launching more over time. So when you open, I'm taking an old snapshot from a previous webinar, but it's a good way to understand it. There are many pieces of information. So right at the top banner, it gives you company details. It tells you what the company is. It tells you what the current price is. It tells you the stock exchange in which it is listed. It tells you the current price and the currency. Then below the name of the company and details of the company, you will see 3 squares. One will be highlighted in red. The other 2 will remain in white. The highlighted one is the page on which you are on, and you can just tap any square to keep moving. By the way, a little bit of interesting advanced information. We are moving away from the red color because we have received a lot of feedback that some people find it very intense. So, very soon you'll see us moving to a blue color and a few other changes that are coming in. So this is just advanced information. Anyway, so the first tile, the square, the red square, is the signal strength as of today. Okay. Now remember, signal strength changes from day to day because the markets change every day, the prices change every day, and so on and so forth. So the signal strength is recomputed every single day. And and then it gives you some signal details. It shows you the date on which the signal was generated. So Canfin Homes, the signal was generated on 26th of February. This is, of course, I took it from 21st of March. So that's why you're seeing these dates. Returns since inception. Now, inception is the signal date. So today, on today's date, today's date for this insight, which is 10th of March, On 10th of March, this signal had generated between 26th of February and 10th of March, it had generated 17.5%. So the price had moved, so the stock kind of did what it was expected to do. Now, because it is alpha 330, we keep it open for 30 days. 12 days have elapsed on the 10th of March. Therefore, the signal will stay open for another 18 days. And signal has now dropped. So the current status is no signal. Okay. So that is what you're looking at. Now, all these numbers will change every day, as they should. And all these numbers are calculated on closing price of the previous day. So these are not real-time prices and so on. But so just bear that in mind, because the current price on the day may well be different from closing price of the previous day. Then it shows you signal history. So how many times has Canfin Homes come up as a signal in the last 12 months? And we will show you the last 2 instances. Now, in this case, it has happened only once, so there is only one instance. Now, here, the last time the signal came up, it was 12th of June, 2020, so over a year ago. And at that time, in 30 days, it went up 15.9%, and the index went up 8%, so it produced the kind of alpha that it was expected to do. And then you have a line chart below, which shows you how the signal strength has moved from day to day. Now, this changes every day, guys, and there's nothing to get nervous about. And you will now see, any tiles that shows in red shows you the signal strength is high. Any tile that shows in white in the first alpha 330 page means the signal strength is not high. But the signal strength could change every day. Okay, just because the signal is low doesn't mean the signal is not active. It generally means that either the stock has gone up, so it is unlikely to go up further, or it is unlikely to go up further and the signal has dropped. But it could change the following day. So you should keep your eye on it. And this is what I mean by saying that your own understanding of the company and your own view on the company becomes very important. You could take the view, if you know Canfin Homes well, that even though it has gone up 17.5%, it still has room to go. Or you could say, well, it has gone up 17.5%. I don't think it's going to go up again. I'm going to wait till another signal is generated. Okay. Either option is fine, but it is important for you to form that view. Okay, so moving to the next page. Next page is very interesting. It tries to act like Netflix, where it says, okay, if you're interested in Canfin Homes, then here are a bunch of similar stocks. Okay, and similar stocks are based on the sector, based on the country, and based on whether the signal is open or not. So there are 6 other financial NBFCs or banks where there is a signal that is open. And there's SBI, there's IndusInd, there's HDFC, there's Bank of Baroda, Karur Vysya, and Federal Bank. If you click on any of them, you will go to the Alpha 330 page for those things. Now, if you look at the chart, there is a small declining and improving words on the left-hand side and the right-hand side respectively. So anything toward the left half of this chart is a declining signal. Anything to the right of this chart is an improving signal. So that is the other piece of information that you have to bear in mind. And then, of course, on the line below, you will see all the individual signals, when they were generated, what date, and since then to today, what have they done? Now, some have done very well, some have not done so well. And that will always be the case because prices move up and down. Okay. If I go on to the final page, it just gives you some details on the company. So it tells you it's a banking stock, it's a mid-cap stock. 1-year performance has been pretty good, so it's gone up nicely. And it shows you the volatility of the beta against the market. And then it shows you against the index how this price has done. Okay, this stock has done. So that is really what you will see on the Alpha 330 pages. one person, somebody had asked me on the square tiles on the top, sorry, apologies. You see these small red squares or black squares. What do they mean? They mean nothing, guys. They're just a design thing. Okay, so just ignore them from a content point of view. Finally, I want you to, in the last few discussions, we've talked about FTM, we've talked about Alpha 330, and I really want to talk a little bit about how we should think about some of these things. They are different products, okay? And the way we think about them is there are three kinds of user groups that we have. One kind of user group who have expertise and who have the time to make their own investments. And for them, I think InvestorAi is really an ideal product because you have the knowledge and you have the time to think through, do a little bit of research and make your own decisions. Okay, if you don't have that much time, but you have some of the time, but you don't have that much expertise, and you don't want to be bothered about figuring out when to buy, when to sell, then FTM portfolios are a great product for you. Okay. Now, this is not an FTM session, but let me just talk a little bit about it. The way to think about FTM is, firstly, you have to trust the machine. Okay, if you don't trust the machine, don't touch FTM. Okay, if you trust the machine, then you have to trust the machine. Let the machine do its thing. We are watching it very carefully. We spend a lot of time, tracking it, making sure, but we also don't touch the output that comes out of the machine, because at the end of the day, if you don't trust the machine, then what's the point of this whole thing? Then you may as well pay money to somebody and take a PMS kind of a relationship. So, and these are portfolios that are intended for the longer term or the medium term. So a few weeks of up and down that we have had in the recent weeks is unfortunate. And, we always feel bad when we lose money. But you have to stay the course. If you don't feel confident, then you should exit. Okay, because then this thing is not for you. Because in a portfolio situation, like I said, compounding of returns is very important. That produces as much impact as the returns themselves. And the compounding only happens over time. If you haven't given it time, then you will not see. You're missing half the impact of this whole thing. Anyway, and the third product, which is coming soon, is where you have the expertise, but you simply don't have the time. And for that, we're coming up with a really interesting product, which I think it's maybe a couple of months, 3 months away. So certainly before the end of the year, we'll have this. And when we have it ready, India is our priority market. It is a very strategic market for us, and we will launch it in India first, I think. Okay. Now, with that, let me stop sharing my screen, and I will share my app here. So then I can show you some of the things that I've been talking about.
While you get it up, Akshay, so a lot of our questions so far is around understanding the signal strength. So okay. Yeah, so we could maybe focus on.
So let me spend a little bit of time on signal strength once I get there. And I will invite Sarthak to join me as well in some of my comments. So now that you can see my screen, let me just go here. So let's go into InvestorAi. The first thing you guys, all of you have to check is your preferences. You have to select the markets. I've got only India switched on. I can switch on others, but for now, I will just leave it here. You also go to look at sectors. Now, let me just switch on every single sector. And for those of you who have not used the app before, as you can see, it's really quite easy. Okay, once you do that, then you can also configure your view, if you want to, but I won't go into that now. And you can configure how you want to monitor the stock. So you can set your loss alert limits, profit alert limits, and so on. So this is what sits in preferences. Now, let me go back, and I've, of course, switched on every single algo. So now you will see Alpha 330 in the middle row on the left-hand side. Let me click on that and see what happens. So now I am seeing all the live signals in India. There is a more button below. So if you click on that, and you can keep clicking on that, because we have at any time, we have a whole bunch of insights in India. And I won't click anymore, but as you can see, there are a ton of insights. Okay. A red tile means that the signal is active today. Okay, a white tile means that the insight was generated at some time in the past, and the signal is not a high strength signal today. It is still an active signal, guys. It is just not a high strength signal today. Okay, and the situation could be completely different tomorrow. It is entirely dependent on what has happened in the markets. So this is how you must interpret red and white tiles. On each tile, you will see the sector. So for instance, BPCL is energy, and SHK is materials. And so as you can see, among the red tiles, out of the 7 red ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are materials, and 2 are industrial. So what this is really telling me, even without looking at the companies, that there's something happening in materials and industrials. Okay, so this looks like a little bit of a sector move rather than just companies within it. Okay, and as you can see, in all the white tiles, there are some materials there also. Okay, so now let's go in. Now I want to draw your attention to sort and filter. So you can filter. So you can say, show me only the ones with active signals. Or you can say, only show me the ones I am monitoring. Or you could say, show me only the ones that have made money. Okay. Then amongst what you filter, you can say sort by latest. You can sort by returns. You can sort by signal strength. So let's say sort by latest. Now let's see what we get. So this is what comes. So let me take SHK. So this is a company called SH Kelkar and Company. Okay, if I don't know who they are, I can go to the snapshot, and it says it's a chemicals and materials company, small cap. It's really gone up big time in the last 1 year, and the beta is above market at 1.05%. If I go back to the company, it's the signal came up on 26th of August, so it's a relatively recent signal. It has produced 2.8%, in the 1 day already, and the current price has 149.40. Now you will see a button on Live Info. If you click on Live Info, you will see that the price actually is the closing price 149.50, and you can look at 52-week high, which is 189. So this company potentially has some ways to go. You can look at news on this company and so on and so forth. The nice thing is that you're still in the app, so you can just go back and look at this. The signal has 29 days to go, and currently it is active or high strength. You can look at signal history. It has been generated twice in the last 1 year, once on 27th of July, once on 18th of June. And and both times in a 30-day, day 1 to day 30 comparison, it did not beat the index. Okay, so this is just information. This is the line that shows you signal strength, and as long as it is above the gray box, it is the gray box is not an active signal, low strength signal, and if it's above the gray box, then it's a high strength signal. So this is what it means. A high strength signal means that if you wanted to buy it, it is still a good time to buy. If it's a low strength signal, it may not be a great time to buy today, but it may be a good stock to track if you know the company and you like the company. Shruti, let me pause here, and I'm going to invite Sarthak, but if there are any to add to what I said, but there are any questions relating to what I've just said, just tell me and I will answer them now.
So Akshay, Sarthak, go ahead. Sarthak, can you just again, both Akshay and Sarthak, emphasize on the question that I'm still seeing is, so today the signal came, Akshay, and it's showing red. Now, it's gone up 2.6%. Now tomorrow, and we've still got 29 days to go. Tomorrow we come back and it goes to low. What are they supposed to do? Do they wait? So that's the question. That's what they're asking. If the signal goes away tomorrow, what happens?
Okay.
All right. Let me take that. Akshay, can you please scroll down so that we can highlight the signal strength, please? Yeah, so guys, as you can see, no signal. I think we need to change that a little bit. But the idea here is, see, every stock in our universe in India gets a signal strength every day, and it is relatively ranked. So the thing is, the signal might not have depreciated, but the chances are there could be another company which might have had a higher signal when it is generated. So what does it do relatively? It pushes the signal for the company down. But having said that, if it is near that top line of, basically what we call it as breakout, then it's still, a very good signal to hold on to. But if that red line comes close to the x-axis, that means the momentum play is over, right? Because, there are times like, for example, in this Khelkar, you can see in between, there was a drop significantly, and that was the time of the small cap sell-off, right? But as soon as the small cap sell-off was over, the signal came back. The way I use it, again, like Akshay says, it's you and AI, but the way I use it, if I enter something, I do not tend to exit for the 30 days unless that red line goes and hits the x-axis, literally. So you can, personally, I would prefer, because, I prefer not to churn my portfolio so much, and I'm not an active trader. I take positional trades and I use the signal thing as a barometer, right? And again, I know a lot of you guys have come from, calls, targets, etc. When we started Bridgeweave, we always wanted it to be more usable. What if the signal doesn't work? You just get out? No, because the stock still, if it is a signal today, that is signal for a lot of reasons. It's not just technicals, right? We, by the way, just to give you some highlight, we use fundamental, momentum and technical features. So the signal is not just purely based on technicals, right? So fundamentals don't change in a day. So it's sometimes better to hold on rather than, look for new bets.
See, also, just to add to that, like I said, if you don't have a point of view on the stock, then don't buy it, regardless of signal. This is not, is gode pe laga do, but I have no idea what this horse is all about. You have to understand. So, I would urge you that if you see a strong signal on a company, you have to know what the company does. If I don't understand the materials industry, then I should not come close to this kind of thing. There are 8 similar stocks here. And like I said, there are some on the left-hand side, which has a declining signal. There are some on the right-hand side, which have an improving signal. So let's just take Hindalco. So I'm going to click on Hindalco, and now I'm in Hindalco. Okay, the signal is still high. Signal came on 27th of August, so it hasn't moved or gone up or gone down. It's just yesterday's signal. It's got 30 days to go. So now this is a good example. अब इसका signal देखिए. It has just come out. Is this a good time to buy Hindalco? It could be. But you have to have a view on the company. Okay? If you don't have a view on the company, then it becomes very difficult. So if you can go and do some search, saying, okay, price is 438. What is its 52-week high? 52-week high is 474. Okay, so there is some headroom in the stock, so it could go up. Is there any recent news? I can look at that. And again, I emphasize, if you don't have a view on Hindalco, then it is better to kind of stay away.
So actually, why don't you just show play? Because a lot of our users, we actually got this feedback from a lot of our users who actually look at the signal and then explore it using play to see how the KPIs look like.
Okay, so now look at play at the bottom, right? If I click on play, and let us take Hindalco. So now, the way I'll explain for new users, what play does is compares one stock against something else on 6 criteria. capital structure, consensus view, valuation, future outlook, historic performance, and drawdown. And you will see a question mark in the app. If you ever click on the question mark, it will show you, what the page is showing, what is page is intending to say. So, and you see question marks various places. Just click on it. So, what it does, it converts every metric on 0 to 20, where 20 is very good and 0 is not good. So, the larger the shape, better it is, the larger the area covered. The red shape is Hindalco, and the gray shape is the Indian market. Now, as you can see, this company is scoring much better than market on 4 out of 6 criteria, which is consensus view, valuation, future outlook, and historic performance. It is equal to market on drawdown and slightly worse than market on capital structure. And you can see the scores numerically as well. And this is a very good way of looking at it. Now, if you want to say that I want to compare it to the materials sector, you can click on materials, and now you will see a comparison against the sector. Again, not very different, so it's very similar. But now you can say, okay, I want to compare it to SH Kelkar. SH Kelkar and here. So now you can see that SH Kelkar, which is now the gray shape, is slightly worse than Hindalco in a few other cases, but capital structure is much better. So if you wanted company that is generally good all around, but a bit more volatile than Hindalco because it is small cap, Hindalco is not small cap, then SH Kelkar may be a good company for you. But if you wanted slightly less volatility and you wanted a larger cap company, then Hindalco may be a better bet for you. Okay? So thank you for pointing it out, Sarthak. That is a good way of further analyzing and looking at some of these stocks. Okay. So let me go back to Alpha 330. Let me just pick some other company, or let me stay with SHK. So I explained this particular page. Similar stocks we have now seen. We have seen how to use it, how to compare it, and the final page here is the snapshot of the company, and it tells you performance of the company against the market. Okay, so that is Alpha 330. The final thing I want to talk about is accuracy. So if you click on the bullseye button on the top, okay, you will see some accuracy numbers. Now, for those of you who have been following it, these accuracy numbers go up and down every day because they get recalculated every day. The way we do this, Alpha 330 is a 30-day period. So let me talk about, go from bottom up. So in the last 30 days, Alpha 330 has generated over 700 ideas. 700 ideas across all markets. So for India, it will be a smaller number. We are making a change in the representation. So if I have selected only India, then I will see only details for India. So in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, you will see that the accuracy will reflect by country or by the markets that you have selected. If you have selected all the markets, then of course you'll see the same thing. But you have selected only India, then you will only see India. So 734 is the total number of signals it has generated. The returns piece is quite important. So what we do is it's a 30-day signal. So we look at the price on day 0 or day 1, and we look at the price on day 30. And then we do a comparison. And if it is up, we show you on average the up number or the down number. In this case, it is slightly up. I will be the first one to tell you that this is an imperfect calculation, but this is the only way we can do it in a way that to compare. But don't over-interpret things, because what this ignores is if a company starts with 100 on day 1, goes to 110 on day 15, and comes back to 100 on day 30, this figure will be 0. But in between, it has given a 3% return or more. Okay? But if I start showing that, it becomes impossible to calculate. So this is just a point in time comparison. It ignores the in-between movement up or down. It would have gone down also further. So, just remember that this is a slightly oversimplified representation of a number. But the in-between movement is important. So where we capture the in-between movement is in the accuracy number. In the accuracy number, as long as it has delivered a 3% any time between day 1 and day 30, it will be treated as a beat. If it has not done that, it is treated as a miss. And what you're seeing is the ratio of beats versus misses. So out of 100, 62% of the time, it has beaten the 3% threshold that has been established. Now, 3% could have gone up to, some stock may have gone up to 50%, but it will treat that as a beat. If something just goes to 3%, but no further, it is still treated as a beat. Okay, and this number again changes from time to time. It used to be a lot higher. It has gone down. I think it is now beginning to come back up quite strongly, but the number here is only for the last 30 days, and because last 30 days have been so volatile, you'll see some impact. It'll take a few, 1 or 2 weeks before the effect of the last 30 days sort of wash it out. But currently, it is operating at a better number. Sarthak, do you want to add anything to what I said?
No, absolutely. The thing is, guys, remember, India accuracy is far better. It's just that we've been, the US markets is around 60% of our insights. And, because of tapering and all of that, we have had a little bit of correction. So that's why the numbers look a little down. And then for people like who've been with us, this number was touching around 8.69% just a couple of months back. So, like we said, every strategy will have drawdowns, will have limitations, and we're constantly iterating. And thanks for bearing with us and being a part of the journey.
And look, just the point really is that our task is to create the best algos possible. Our task is to monitor them closely and keep making tuning corrections as they are needed, which we are doing. Our other obligation is to report to you the numbers as they are. Sometimes they will look very good. Sometimes they will not look very good. And I will tell you, I am neutral whether they are fantastic or whether they are bad, because I feel that transparency is more important than necessarily always presenting good numbers. Okay, so the one thing you can trust us for is we will present you the numbers as they are. Okay, we will never conceal anything. We will never doctor anything to try and make it look better. That is not our thing. Okay, we cannot guarantee good numbers all the time, but we can guarantee that what you see is what is the live number. So let me stop here, Shruti. I know I've gone on a bit.
We have a few questions, but no, I think you are making a very important point, Akshay. So it's good. I'm just going to take Milind's question. Milind, I think this is when you were on play. So Milind has a question around that. What does valuation mean? Yeah. How to distinguish between expensively priced or less expensive? This is to identify whether it is already high priced, the stocks.
Yeah. So Milind, good question. And I'm sorry I did not explain it fully. Let me just go put my phone up again, and I will just explain that once again. A high score on valuation means it's a cheaper stock. Okay, so let me go back to where we were. Let me go to play. Let me pick Hindalco again as we had. Sorry. Hindalco. Hindalco Industries. So Hindalco has a very high score on valuation, which means that in relative terms, it is a much cheaper stock. Okay, let me just to give you a stark illustration, let me show you Tesla. And Tesla is Tesla, the valuation score is really terrible, which means it is a very expensive stock in comparative terms. So that is what valuation means.
Okay. Akshay, we have, we covered most of the questions on Signal, but there was one that came to me. What is a maximum drawdown I can expect from 330?
I don't know if that is a question. It's like saying what is the weather I could expect in Bangalore.
See, it depends on the market scenarios and also if it's a large cap, mid cap, and small cap, right? The large cap ones, the drawdown should be limited, right? While the small cap and mid cap, the drawdown would be slightly higher. And again, depends on the market scenarios. If there's a repeat of 2020, that could be 50-60%. And if, going by history in a month, lowest, the average could be around 4%, 4.5%, yeah.
See, the point is that, look, there is drawdown in every stock. The fact that it's been selected by Alpha 330 does not influence drawdown one way or the other. That's what I was saying there. I don't think there's any correlation there.
Okay. Pratik asks, once the signal touches or gets closer to the x-axis, then should we buy more shares for cost averaging?
If you like the company, yeah, you might want to do that. Look, in the last 3 weeks, the markets have been so volatile. Some people have lost money and therefore felt bad. Some people have seen it as a buying opportunity and made money. So it is entirely dependent on your view on the company. Okay, Shruti, let's just take one more.
Yes, Akshay. Shankar, I hope we answered your questions because the entire part on signals was covered when Akshay was, doing the demo. Akshay, I'm just going to, the last question, I'm just going to go with what Praveen, he's asked me here, but we might as well, talk about it. Why no stop loss to protect loss, if at all?
So, Praveen, stop loss is there. Okay, it's just not there let me just show you again, use the app to show you. So the reason there is no price, this thing, because it's not a recommendation, it's just a signal. So we are not telling you that you should exit when this happens, you should do something else when something else happens. That is not the purpose of this app. But you can set your own stop losses. So for instance, if I go back, now I can say, let's go back to Hindalco. Right. I'll show it to you with an example. Hindalco, so I go in here. Now I like Hindalco, okay, but I'm not ready to buy. So you see a monitor button at the bottom next to home. If you click on that, it has now taken me to the monitoring screen and I can again enter Hindalco. Sorry, what am I doing? Hindalco. Okay. Now once before I start monitoring, I can set my own alert limit for loss alert of 0.5% and profit alert of 3%. InvestorAi will then alert you if the price drops over 0.5%. I can say, no, this is too low. I want 1.5%. So then you do 1.5%. And then you say monitor now. So now the stock is being monitored for you. If you go to home, and if you look at, you can see Hindalco is on my watch list. And I can click on this. And now it gives me a wealth of information. So other than price movements, it tells me there is a live insight. It tells me that in the last 12 months, there have been 3 insights on the stock, one in value investing, one in swing trades, one in Alpha 330. And there are insights on a number of similar stocks. And then it shows you the spider chart that we saw. And it also tells you whether your profit alert target has been met or loss alert target has been met. So a loss stop loss thing is your target. We allow you to set it up in whatever way you want. The signal itself does not come with any targets of losses or gains.
Great. Thanks, Akshay. We have, you can download the app for all the new people. You can download our app. It's on InvestorAi.co.uk. It's also on the App Store and Play Store. So please download and register. We have a community, platform coming up, but we'll talk to you more about that. For now, we're on Telegram, and the link, Prabal will just be, there it is on the chat. He's just going to be putting it up. If you have any more questions, please do write to us at support@bridgeweave.com. We will respond to you, and many times we do spend time walking you through how you can use the app better. So please do write into us. Next week, we will be here, same time and same place. Perhaps do you want to get the question up as well? Yes, you could tell us how today's session was. I think, but like the markets, today's been not, the kind of questions also that have come in has been a little low, but I'm sure it's going to be great next week, and we hope to see all of you, and we will talk then. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, and see you next week at 12:30. Thank you.